Ever wonder what it's like to be the lead referee on the grandest stage in college football? Everyone thinks it's so easy, right? We're all going to find out about it very soon as Mike VanderVelde, who wore the white cap in the national championship game this past Monday, he'll be here to share his experience. And Zach will let us know if he thinks Tyler Shough has a chance to win NFL Rookie of the Year honors. And, of course, we will preview the AFC and NFC championship games. We'll let Zach make his picks, and the Pick'em crew is here. We'll try not to embarrass ourselves any more than we had the first, I don't know. How many weeks has it been since we've been good? I don't know. We're still going to make our picks, but we really probably need to hurry up before I change my mind. The Dattitude podcast, it's coming up. Well, it's coming up next.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? 3 more games. We have just 3 more football games left before we go into the long, deep, dark, and probably mostly hot slumber. Sad. Let's do this before I start crying. This is Dattitude, episode number 467, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Friday, January the 23rd, 2026. You know who I am. I'm your host, Jim Derry. 35 plus years in the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. What is on today's show? You can see it down there. I know so many of you are. Look, how many times did we get a chance to have a referee on a show? Mike VanderVelde, who was the lead official for the college football championship game this past Monday. That's right. The Indiana-Miami game. He is here on Dattitude. He's going to talk to us. He's actually out at the East-West Shrine game. That's in Mobile, right, Gabe? Is that where that is? Look that up for me if you don't mind. I think that's I get him mixed up with the Senior Bowl. But anyway, he is out he's going to be officiating the East-West game on, I think that's tomorrow. So he's doing some run-throughs, and he said he should be done. Hopefully he'll be on by about noon today. Zach is coming on at 11:15 or 11:20, somewhere around there. Pick'em crew is a little bit earlier today. It's actually in Frisco, Texas. Thanks, Gabe, for looking it up so I don't look stupid. Drinking out the Dat mug. We got Dat merch. You know what that means. We got merch coming up for everybody. We had a few members sign up. Well, I'll say a few. I think we had 13 sign up the first day, which I'm really excited about. If you're interested in being a member and supporting the channel, that is the main thing that you can do if you support this channel. If you become a member, it's supporting the channel. I appreciate everyone that's done it already, and obviously you could still do it if you're interested. It's easy to do. You just go on to YouTube and you click join, and you can pick which one you want to do. All the membership, the lowest membership level, the cheapest one is $12.99 a month, and what you're going to get for that is you'll get an invite to our Slack channel. You'll get to have it's basically a kind of like a messaging app, basically, and we'll be able to talk to one another when we're not on the air. I go in there, Gabe's in there all the time. UBN's going to be in there all the time. I will be in there most of the time whenever I get a chance to check it. But anyway, it'll give us all a chance to talk to each other. There's different categories. And eventually, it's going to be where I put the poll question. I'll get to the poll question of the day in just a minute. But we are going to have a poll question every day. I got another new segment coming up. I'm going to kind of do either a look back in history on this date, or maybe Saints birthdays, or LSU. We're going to figure it out. We're going to have another segment that's going to debut within the next couple of weeks as well. So we have a lot of fun. We're also going to probably have members-only segments. And if you join the most expensive one, I'm going to send you some merch. I just haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to send you. I'm still working on the merch store. That's the next thing that comes. So we got memberships done. We're going to work on the merch store. That's coming next. So hopefully we'll get that all together. Anyway, if you want to join that, you can do that. And, of course, as always, if you want to send us a message during the show, during the live show, that's what's special about us. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. You talk to us, we talk back to you. You type in your comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. We'll show it here on the show. I'm going to get to the comments in just a minute. Also, of course, we're on all the major podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and more. You can get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. and email me, jim@jimderry.com. And please, if you have not subscribed, even if you're not a member, it's okay. Subscribe, and we appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up and a like. All right. Today's poll question, before I get to the comments, some interesting results. We're going to obviously have to pick them later this afternoon. And I say this afternoon because, well, it'll be the morning when we do the pick 'em, because the pick 'em crew coming on about 11:40. The question of the day is, who is going to the Super Bowl? Okay. Who is going to the Super Bowl? I'll put it on both YouTube and my X page. And the results were not surprising at all. I didn't think, it's kind of going along the lines of what the square picks. One of the favorites is picked, one of the underdogs is picked, but this is almost exactly the way I expected it to come out. Of the, let's see how many votes, 24 and 9, 33 total votes, and I'm sure as we go along, we'll have more. People don't even know we're doing it yet. We had 16 votes for New England and the Rams. 8 voted for New England and Seattle. So 24 of the 33 think that New England's going to the Super Bowl. 5 picked Denver and the Rams. 4 picked Denver and Seattle. And I think the 9 that picked Denver probably are Sean Payton fans or something along those lines. Anyway, we'll see what the Pick'em crew thinks a little bit later this morning. So that was the poll question. I'm sure we're going to have some comments about it. Again, if you want to make your predictions, even if you already voted in the poll, feel free to put them in a little bit. Do it a little bit later when we get to Zach, because I don't want to lose them. So, but that was the poll question for the day. Again, we're going to have a poll question every day. I'll probably make more of a bigger deal about it than I'm going to make about it today. But we got so much to get to. Also, did you see that we talked about this morning? Gabe and UBN and I in the green room before we got started. Did you see that Phillip Rivers is interviewing to become the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills? I can't wait. Gabe's probably going to mention this, but it is kind of strange that you fire a coach that went 98-50, 8-8 in the playoffs. Again, not great, whatever. Are you really seriously contemplating about bringing a guy whose coaching experience is as a high school coach for 1 year or 2 years? I think maybe 2 years. I don't know, whatever it is. And probably coach his son's flag football team too. I mean, that's who you're thinking about bringing in as head coach. Now, the Colts brought in Jeff Saturday, a couple years ago? I don't know, man. If that's what you're thinking about doing, Phillip Rivers, really? It's kind of crazy. Let's get to some of the comments this morning. Zach is already in the green room. We're going to probably bring him in a little bit early this morning. Brian Cavett is here. Good morning. Bundle up. Absolutely. The weather is going to get cold. I think we're going to get lucky here. I don't think it's going to be too bad here in the New Orleans area. I don't think it's going to be the freezing variety. Now, the rain that we get might freeze over, but everywhere else, it looks like about, 2/3 of the country? I was listening to a guy from the National Weather Service this morning talking about it. A 2,000-mile swath of winter storm warnings. 2,000 miles across this country. Insane. Anyway, he wants me to ask Mike if he has aspirations for an NFL job and that they could use many more head referees like him. Yeah, I will tell him, I'm sure. And I don't know what his aspirations are. And interestingly enough, I did not know this, that he's from the North Shore. I think you find out. And I should have known, because apparently he's a baseball coach of a team that I covered for a couple of years, and I didn't even realize that. You see what you forget? Anyway, we'll get to that. Apathy. If Denver wins, there better be a Stidham dance, a stiddy dance over the gritty. Probably will be. S. Callie, good morning. Who dat? Chad Gage, good morning. Jerry is here. Good morning, Adam. Listening while at work, we're glad to have you. San Luis Obispo, good morning. Looking forward to a great show with the refs. Stay warm. Absolutely got to stay warm. And you're right, Brian Estes, the Senior Bowl is in Mobile. That is correct. This East-West Shrine game is in Frisco, Texas. JC said, hello from Denver. It's 7 degrees. The snow on the ground, but overall, good. Brian, I don't think I'm going to ask him. If the Nola no call comes up, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to ask about that. Charles Mangus, it's all right if you're a little late. Welcome you in. Apathy also talking about Lane Kiffin already seems to have outworked Brian Kelly in 2 months versus 2 years. Kiffin is a machine. He's definitely done a good job in the portal. There's no doubt about it. Can't take anything away from him. Mark says, good morning. 90 days till the NFL draft, 47 days till free agency started. Not like he's counting or anything. And that it's 55 degrees in Vegas. Man, that is nice. It is. Let's go. Sean says, JC, let's see. The temperature in Mandeville right now is 61 degrees and ugly and gray, and it's going to rain and whatever. You know, this is, you're right. You know what? Hang on real quick before I bring this up. There we go. Before we start the show, though, Zach, you're going to have to hold on 1 second because I got to tell you about my friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. Just as importantly, it's always their Super Bowl. They can figure out what your business is worth. That's you. If it's someone you know, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you'll be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? We'll fill you in more later in the show. Somewhere around the time that we make our predictions, maybe even. Because you'll want to hear that before you make her. You definitely want to go to a van. You bet on Nick before you bet on us. There's no doubt about that. In the meantime, you can check him out at www.Evangeline Securities. You can also check out my friend Joseph DeStefano. You got a small company, you're looking for insurance for your employees. Joe DeStefano, he's the man you want to talk to.
If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DeStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all, and with Joe DeStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DeStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most.
That's right, protect what matters most. Before we get to Zach, 2 more comments. My friend Sav says, outside of Chicago, I believe Iowa, right? Sav's in Iowa, I believe. He's at 30. Now, come on, man. 39 below zero. Let's don't exaggerate, all right? That's the wind chill. I mean, come on. It's only like minus 10. What are you, a wuss? Come on, man. Minus 10. You can handle minus 10. Zach Ewing's favorite weather. You love it when it's minus 10. I'm sure you've been in that somewhere, somehow before.
The coldest temperature I've ever been
6
in.
or 7 degrees.
Probably, yeah. I remember a couple of winters my parents lived in Illinois, in Peoria, Illinois, and I would visit for Christmas. And I remember a couple of days got below zero. And that's not real feel. That's like the actual mercury.
Right.
So I have been in it, but man, you just don't go outside, right? Like it's just it's like it is here when it's 97 outside and humid, and we're just like, well, I'm just not going outside today.
Exactly. And I mess with them, completely joking. I think I've been in single digit temps, like actual single digit temps, less than 5 times in my life, for sure. It's happened. The coldest I ever remember is I flew into, I forget where I was flying to, but we went through Cincinnati. And it was like 4 degrees when we flew through. And I said, I just have to go outside and feel what 4 degrees feels like. And I'm like, okay. I walked outside, felt it for 15 seconds only. That's enough. I felt it. I could say that I felt what 4 degrees feels like. No thanks. I'm going to pass.
It is funny, though. You mentioned it's 61 in Mandeville, which is the same here in Denham. And I went outside for a walk like an hour ago, and it was probably 59. And I was just wearing this kind of a thin sweatshirt. And it's weird how sometimes the temperature feels colder than it says it. Like, I mean, I understand there's wind chill and real feel and all that stuff, but you really, when there's no sun out, I got down to the short side of my block and came back and went in and grabbed a jacket because I'm like, it's cold. Like, it's way colder than 60 out here.
Yeah, no thanks. By the way, Seth says he's 45 minutes outside of Peoria. I am not going to, well, I will try to pronounce it. Geneseo, or is it Geneseo? Geneseo is what I'm guessing. Quad City.
I want to hear you pronounce Uman Mielen again.
Oh, no. I couldn't even spell it. Much mess. And then I went on yesterday, I went on Mike Detillier show on WWL, and I didn't even try. I just said the defensive end from Ole Miss. Boy, what a great I didn't even try. I'm not going to lie.
I thought it was funny. We had an LSU insider podcast all about portal yesterday, and Jordan Seaton and all that stuff. And it's on the LSU Insider YouTube channel. But Wilson Alexander, who's our terrific beat writer, and one of the reasons he's terrific is because he thinks ahead, and he just called him Prince Will the whole time. We're not messing with the last name. He's just Prince Will.
That's funny. All right. All right. I did not fix this headline on this slide, although it's not wrong. It's the slide I had from Wednesday, but I just typed the right day. And so I'm going to put this one up there. I know this one is right. So we'll just leave this up there. Tyler Shough, let's start with the Saints here. And speaking of the insiders, you got your Saints Insider show. What are you going twice a week right now with the Saints Insiders? Or you get some vacations?
Once this week, just Wednesday. We'll probably go twice again next week. I mean, most weeks it's going to be 2. It was just kind of a slow week.
Yeah.
So we took one.
All right. The odds on Rookie of the Year were actually closed. You cannot find them on any book to actually bet on them. I'm not sure why you would want to bet them, but I put this on the screen kind of to highlight where I knew where you were going to go with this. But the title slide says Shough is a finalist for the Rookie of the Year, which is true. With the 4 other members that are on this list, and if you can't see the list, Tet McMillan is minus 1,000, so he is the overwhelming favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to, barring something silly, he's going to win it. Travion Henderson is plus 900, Jackson Dart plus 900, and then Emeka Ibuka is plus 12,000. Shough is 4th at plus 1,500. Now, this was as of about 4 days ago before they closed the odds. Again, you can no longer vote on this anywhere. But your thoughts? I mean, this tells us that he basically doesn't have any realistic chance. It would be a big surprise if he won. It doesn't take anything away from what he's done in just 9 games of play, but I don't think any of us think that Tyler Shough really has a real shot at winning this award.
I would think not, but I'm always a little confused about these award odds because how do we really know? You know, are they getting information are they getting voters to tell them how they're voting? Because on the surface, you look at the numbers and you say, okay, Tet McMillan had 1,000 yards receiving. He obviously had a good season. He played the full season. His team made the playoffs. Okay, strong resume. But then you look at Jackson Dart, who had the best touchdown to interception ratio and had the most rushing yards of a quarterback of the rookie class. And you say, okay, that looks okay to me. I could see somebody looking at that and voting for that. And then you look at Tyler Shough and saying, well, he's the only one who had a winning record as a quarterback, and he came on strong, and he really lifted his team, and that's a pretty strong resume. I could see somebody voting for that. So do you look at those resumes and see, oh, Tet McMillan should be minus 1,000?
No.
Because I don't.
No.
I mean, I could see him being favored, but I don't get the odds.
And to answer your question, I think what happens, I think a lot of times, I think they know who the voters are. Do they actually ask them? I don't think they actually ask them, but you can go through their coverage and see how they're talking or whatever, and whoever they are, whatever they're talking about, and kind of get a feel for what they're going to do. And it sounds like if it sounds like that seems like a lot to go through, you're talking about money. So, I mean, I think they probably do something along those lines is my guess.
You're probably right. Let's say I'm a reporter in Chicago who has an offensive rookie of the year.
Right.
Are you writing about it?
Are you really talking about Tet McMillan or Jackson?
You're not talking about Tet McMillan or Tyler Shough in December. I mean,
but you probably don't need that big of a sample size. There are quite a few people that vote on it. So, sure. I mean, I'm not sure, but
I just look at the resumes and say, well, I see where McMillan is favored, but I don't know that it should be overwhelming. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand. The odds make a lot more sense to me when we're talking in October and November, and there's still 6 games to be played than they do now when you're like, well, did one guy really run away with this? I feel the same way about the MVP odds, by the way. They flip-flopped like 4 times in December, whether it was Stafford or May. And then
Right.
after the season, they flipped again. And it looked like May had a better finish to the season, and he was just going to win it. And then all of a sudden, you look the day after the season, and Matthew Stafford's like minus 400 again. I'm going, well, what changed?
Yeah, they know something. Look, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did have a few guys that they actually asked the question to. So, some of these guys, you think about, when we did the Bayou Bet Show, we would do the Bayou Bet Show. At least one of us would be at Harrah's, at Caesars at the time. So, I mean, it just, if one of us were a voter and we were doing a show from Caesars, would it shock you if a Caesars person, hey, just what do you think about?
Oh man, if that gets out, you lose your vote, you lose your standing with the Pro Football Writers. If you're not supposed to be doing that. So maybe it's possible. I mean, all sorts of nefarious things.
I don't know how they know anything.
I'm a little bit. This one in particular, the awards always has me a little bit perplexed. Like I think back to the AL MVP race, which I was obviously very invested in, Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge, and like Judge was a pretty heavy favorite.
He was going to win that.
Well, and he did. But you look at the vote.
He was that big of a heavy favorite.
The vote was pretty close, and you're like, okay, well, why was he such a huge favorite when he got like 60-40 of the vote? But it wasn't. I don't know. It always kind of confuses me.
Look, they know. I don't know how they know. How do they know that a game's going to end? They put an over-under on something at 46.5, and the score's 27-20. How did they know that? I mean, it happens all the time.
That's just a math problem. You're just putting in probabilities, and you have a bell curve, and you say, okay, the 50% of the time the game is going to land in this zone between 44 and 47 points. Let's stick the over-under at 45.5.
Crazy how close they come on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a math problem based on team strengths and tempos and everything else. This is trying to predict human behavior, and that to me is different. But long way of saying, I think Tyler Shough actually has a chance at this. I don't know that he's going to win it, but it's not like I would not tune in.
I know you're hoping he wins with that ticket you got.
Yes,
Adam
I
Barnes
do have a
says
15-1 on McMillan, but that's not 250 to 1.
Well, that's nice. That's nice hedging, even though you didn't mean it as a hedge. Adam says, I don't think Shough wins, but he doesn't know why he's plus 1,500. And the answer is because the people who put the odds together know he's not going to win. He's actually was a little, that's high. He's less than that at some other books. Again, all the books are closed now. You can't find it anywhere. So that's where we are. Just, we kind of touched on it last week, but what are you guys talking about Saints wise? I mean, it's hard to when you're in January and you're kind of in Super Bowl mode. Last year I went back and looked, and I'm like, all we were talking about was the Super Bowl coming to New Orleans, and obviously they were in the coach search. I mean, I forgot what are we supposed to talk about Saints wise this time of year when you're not going to have a new coach. You're not going to have a new quarterback. There's no controversy at quarterback. Even before, when you weren't looking for a new coach, you still could talk. People were talking bad about who. And it's just funny. I mean, what do we talk about right now?
Well, it does feel like the offseason is going to be a lot longer. I remember thinking last year
definitely
that the offseason
longer,
was super short, and that was because you had the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and then you had the Saints coaching search, and then they of course had to fill out the coaching staff, and all of a sudden you looked up and it was March, and it was free agency, and then of course you had the draft, and you're like, oh man, it's like mini camp time already. This year is not going to be like that. This year, now the Saints may be a little more active in free agency, so maybe that part will be more interesting, but we're still 6 or 7 weeks away from doing that. So yeah, it's going to feel like a really long offseason. I'll tell you what we talked about this week. We had our pod on Wednesday was about the Saints' lack of playmakers and how they actually tied.
I saw that story.
10+ play drives in the NFL this year. I think they had 59, tied with the 39, tied with the Dallas Cowboys, which is okay. I mean, it's okay to have 10+ play drives, of course, but when you combine that fact with the Saints being, I think, 30th in explosive plays, which Next Gen Stats defines as a 16-yard or more pass play or a 12-yard or more rushing play.
Right.
They were 30th in both passing and rushing. I think they were 29th overall in explosive plays. So when you combine that, this is a team that had to dink or dunk its way up and down the field. It got better when Tyler Shough was at quarterback. It was still below league average. And that's also with the caveat that Tyler Shough played a much, much easier schedule than the Saints did when they had Spencer Rattler at quarterback.
Yeah. Mr. Jay Hamilton, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Look, I don't, and when you're talking about this kid and whether he is the future of this franchise, you have to think about the caveat about who he played, how he played, whatever, and who, just that schedule that he played against. I'm not taking anything away from what he's done. And that's one thing that does concern me just a little bit going forward, is that schedule is going to be much tougher next year. I mean, much tougher. And you're going to run the gauntlet going through 17 games. How is he going to react when he gets to that spot to where it's a little tough? You know what I mean? How's he going to, when he goes through a little 3-game lull, how's he going to respond? Is he going to respond like he did in the Atlanta game when he threw a pick and then he came back and drove down the field for a touchdown? Because this is not going to be per game basis. This is going to be multiple game basis. You know, you might have 2 or 3 bad games in a row and do you bounce back? So those are the things that I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. And when let's say the Saints are 4-2 in October and going to Detroit, how do you play in a game like that? Or you've got a big divisional game with the Falcons, when it's not just, hey, we're playing well and trying to keep momentum going in a lost season, but we're actually like, this is a big game for playoff odds. How does your quarterback perform in that? I will tell you, here's something else we talked about this week, and this will be fun because I know how much you love PFF grades. And I admit they were a little weird this year.
They were very weird this year.
I do think the larger the sample size, the more reliable they are. When you look at single game grades, things are really going to get funky sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
But Jeff Duncan went and looked, and you can find these stories on NOLA.com. He went and looked at offense and defense, the highest ranked and lowest ranked Saints players for the full season, because the grades came out this week. So I want you to guess let's start with the offense, the 3 highest and 3 lowest graded players on the Saints offense per PFF grades this year. Who were that?
Like, are you giving me a minimum, like they had to play a certain amount of games or no?
Yes, I think.
I mean, I don't want a guy that played like 2 games, and so
these are not guys who only played 2 games. But I'll put it that way.
Right.
I don't know if there's a minimum, but just looking at it, these are guys.
All right. I'll start with the players who did the worst. Okay.
Go work. Just offense.
Just offense. I'm gonna say Cesar Ruiz.
Cesar Ruiz was 3rd lowest.
Okay, so I know that was obvious. So that'd be like betting on something that's obvious, but you had to throw that out there.
That's your free square.
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara was the 2nd lowest.
Who was the worst? Was it a lineman?
It was, and it was a guy who probably shouldn't have been starting.
Trevor Penning?
Dylan Radins.
Dylan Ray. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So
that would have been my
set. And you're going, this frames the offseason, right? 2 guards and a running back. And Alvin Kamara, what you want about him, maybe playing hurt, maybe he didn't care. I mean, maybe it'll get better, but that was where it was.
That's not a surprise to me at all. By the way, Mr. Jay Hamilton, thank you so much for the super sticker. $5 donation. Thank you so much. We always appreciate it. And you as a regular, thank you so much for being around just about every show. Tony Maurice, you're absolutely right. Go Gang Green, go Eagles, baby. We got an Eagles connection that we'll talk about in just a minute in the AFC Championship game. Jerry's happy you're here.
Jerry. All right, so now you're 3 highest.
All right, so my three highest offensive players. I'm going to say, boy, people will love me when I say this. Chris Olave.
See, you're going to like PFF grades so much more after that. Chris Olave was number 1.
Baby.
All of a sudden, Jim's liking the PFF grades.
Chris Olave is number 1. Now, I think Shough and Rattler are like really, really super close. I don't know if one of them's in the top 3, then the other one would probably, because if I remember correctly from what, and not that I go, because I really did, I stopped paying attention like the last 6 games of the season, and I don't remember them. So these are complete guesses. But my guess is Rattler and Shough are really close in that neither are in the top 3. Is that true?
That is not true.
Okay.
One of the things you said is false.
One of the things so Shough and Rattler are not. Well, then I'm going to say Shough.
I mean, they're fairly close, but Shough okay. So this is a little bit weird. This is where you have to. The second highest grade was actually Audric Estime, but he played 180 snaps.
Yeah,
and that wasn't
count.
The second highest among guys who played half of the snaps or more was Tyler Shough.
Okay, and how close was Rattler to him?
So Shough was a 74.6.
Ooh, that was the best.
Which is like starter level. The fact that
that's
the second
great.
highest is
that's really bad. That's for second highest. That's terrible.
The way this works, the way the PFF scale is basically says 85 or above is like an all-pro level. 70 to 85 is a starter level in the NFL. 60 to 70 is like fringe starter, and below 60 is like replacement level.
Yeah.
So 74 is like a solid starter. Okay. Chris Olave, by the way, was a 78. So he was a much solid start. But he was not like all pro level, which I think fits where we talk about him. When you say, okay, well, he's clearly a number 1 receiver because he's clearly a starting level number 1 receiver. And that is true. He is also not really a Pro Bowl type. Like he's not an elite number 1 receiver. He's not top of the league guy. So that fits.
Mm-hmm. Well, interesting. Real quick, UBN, thank you so much. He's coming on the show. I can thank him in person in a minute, but thanks so much for the $20 donation to the Dat Pod. Already a member as well, UBN, and obviously on the show a lot. Go ahead.
Then your
next
highest, your third. So again, there's Kendry Miller is in here, but only played 113 snaps. Next on the list among guys who played at least half the snaps would be Kelvin Banks.
I was going to say Kelvin Banks would be. That was actually who I was going to guess next.
Rattler, for the record, is right at 70, so he was literally on the cusp of solid
starter level. Okay, fair enough. All right, I hate to cut off the Saints talk, but we only got about 7 more minutes with you, and I definitely want to get into championship game weekend. All right, so we'll talk more next week. We won't have anything else to talk, but
we can do the defense next week.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that next week. We'll do defense, and we'll talk more about this next week.
Don't cheat. Don't be looking at PFF in the meantime.
I'm not. I promise not to cheat. I will not cheat. Although it was a lot easier to do this than I thought. All right, the odds on the AFC Championship game have kind of moved a little bit. They keep going. They go from 4.5 to 5.5. They don't stay at 5.5. They go right back to 4.5. Rams and Seahawks has been pretty steady all week long. Rams are a 2.5 point underdog at Seattle. And the headline on the weekend, Zach, is what surprise. I mean, this has been as we thought it would be. I mean, it was obvious, but other than the Seahawks-Niners game and one or maybe the Patriots-Chargers game, and to some extent Patriots-Texans, I mean, all these games have been just absolutely fantastic in my opinion. I mean, I guess Texans Steelers, you could put that it wasn't that good either, but for the most part, I mean, these playoffs have been what we expected them to be. What surprises are in store for Sunday?
I think, and you're right, it's been hard to, as a family guy, sometimes you're like, okay, let me try to skip that game so I can go do this with my kids or spend some time with my wife or whatever. It's been hard to find games that you can just skip or just kind of just catch the end of or whatever. Like they've all been really good. The surprise this weekend for me is that I think Denver, don't know if they win, but I'll tell you what bet I'm going to make is Denver leads at half and then New England wins. You can get that at like 6-1.
Okay.
I think Denver comes out. I think Sean Payton scripts things up really well for Jarrett Stidham. I think getting, I'm blanking on his name, the running back.
Harvey?
No, not Harvey.
You're talking about the Broncos? You're talking about the Broncos? Yeah, I forget too.
He's back from injury, and I think they will run the ball a lot more and pretty effectively. I think the Patriots defense has relied a little bit on turnover.
J.K. Dobbins is back?
Yeah.
I did not see that. That's not what I was thinking you were talking about. I did not know J.K. Dobbins was back. How effective will he be?
He's back. He's at practice limited, and they think he's going to play. So
okay, I did not see that.
They got a couple linemen coming back as well. So I think the Broncos offense is going to be better than people think. They just have to avoid Stidham being awful, right? He just can't be a complete liability. And I think if they can do that, and like I think back to Sean Payton, when Teddy Bridgewater was the starter, or that when Taysom Hill had to start that COVID game in Denver, and when Jameis was the starter in 2021 and everybody was sort of like, can this guy do it? They won games with those guys because Peyton had the game plan keyed up. Now, having said that, I think at some point the Patriots may figure it out and the script runs out and all that sorts of things. And then you're looking at Drake May bombing away. So my two takes on this game are Denver could get out to a lead. They could possibly win, but I also love the over because I think the Patriots in chase mode are going to hit some big plays. And you got a couple of bombs to either Booty or Diggs, and they can come back in the second half.
JC is from Denver, and he said people are pretty confident there. Of course they are. I mean, I would think they'd be confident. Stiddy City. Interesting. Stiddy City. That's one I have not heard. Stiddy City. And I promise
one of the reasons.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the reasons that I've seen people be confident in Stidham is how he played in the preseason. Please get out of here with that.
Yeah.
That does not matter.
Because Shough played not very well in the preseason. So just, I know you're from NOLA, JC, but you live in Denver. So that's probably what I meant to say. All right. The Shough connection with the Denver Broncos, for those of you who don't know, their defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, who could be a head coach in this league again before too long, an outside shot, is from Archbishop Shough High School. He is younger than I. He graduated, I think, in 92, 93, somewhere along those lines. Or maybe he was on, maybe before that. Maybe he was on that 87 championship team. I can't remember. So Vance Joseph went to Shough, and he has been a coach, and his defensive, Zach, I mean, you think it's going to be an over. I think if Denver has a chance to win, they're going to have to keep that total score under. I'm not saying they can't win if it goes over 42.5, but, man, Vance Joseph's going to have his best game plan of the year in this game.
Yeah, and I worry a little bit because Denver's defense tends to feast on bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Look at what Josh Allen did last week. Look at what Mahomes did to them last year. This year was different, but Justin Herbert had a big game against him. Daniel Jones had a big game against him. When they go up against, these competent quarterbacks, they are gettable. And I think Drake May will hit some big plays.
And look, in that game before we moved to the other game, and I said this the other day, Drake May is going to have to, if you're a Patriots fan, you have to be concerned about him turning the football over. He's gotten away with it in the first two games. If he turns the ball over like he did in the first two, I don't think he's going to get away with it. So we'll see if that plays into it. All right, other game, Rams. This is the one that probably most people, just NFL fans, are probably looking more towards this game than they are the other one. Not that they're not looking forward to the other one either, but you got the potential NFL MVP in this game against his NFC West rival, the Seattle Seahawks. Rams are 2.5-point favorites. It's funny because 7 or 8 weeks ago, no one can beat the Rams. And then all of a sudden now, no one can beat the Seahawks. It just goes to show how the score people just don't remember. It's what have you done for me lately?
It is, and I've got a futures bet on the Seahawks. I've got 14-1, and I am very worried about this game. I think back to that Week 16 game. The Rams outplayed them, man. That Thursday night game, they outplayed them up and down the field for 3 quarters. Seahawks made some big plays, caught some huge breaks. The 2-point conversion, obviously, but there was a couple of other plays in that game that were kind of weird. And my one thing where I still have hope for the Seahawks is that the Rams really have not looked good in the playoffs. They haven't looked great. I don't know what's going on with Stafford. He's missing throws. I think his finger may be bothering him more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
And if he's missing throws and stuff, that offense looks a lot different. You're not running the ball against that defense. So I don't know where to go with this one. I'm picking the Rams, but I don't really have a high level of confidence in that. It's going to be a great game. I do think the winner of this one is your Super Bowl champ.
Gabe, look this up when you get a chance. I think the Rams are a super, super square pick. And this is the only spoiler alert I'm going to give throughout the entire show because our picks are coming up next.
Rams are the square pick?
I think the Rams are super square. I'll be surprised if they aren't. Maybe I'm wrong. But I wanted to pick the Rams. If I had to pick this game, like just pick the game. And of course, I'm sure I'll make a pick because I'll probably bet on it. But I would guess I would have to pick the Rams at +2.5 as well. But I just don't know if I'm going to touch it. And so I stayed away from it in my best bets because I just think it just seems too easy. I just think the Rams are that much. I think they're better. Seahawks getting 70% of the spread bets at MGM, so that surprises me. So that's not the truth. So it's the other way.
Yeah, I kind of thought the favorites would both be big time public chalk this week.
Okay, interesting. All right, so your pick. You said you would take the Rams in this game. You would take Rams. You would take Rams.
I'm going to take Rams. I think I'll take Denver to cover the spread. I think both underdogs cover the spread, but I'll take Rams Patriots round 3 in the Super Bowl.
If there were going to be a blowout in either one of these games, where would it be?
Oh, I mean, I think the blowout possibility happens if Stidham is just not ready.
Yeah.
If the lights get too big for him, that game could get ugly. That's the one where I see it could get. I don't see the NFC game getting ugly, and I don't see Denver winning a blowout either. I mean, if they win, like you said, I don't know that it's going to be a super low scoring game because I think they can scheme some stuff up. But if they win, you're looking at the 20-17, 23-20, that sort of game. Yeah.
Well, I can't say you're wrong. I think it's going to be a fun weekend. I don't think there'll be a blowout, but you can't be surprised by anything. I mean, we asked what surprises are in store. Who the hell knows? I mean, there's going to be a surprise. We just don't know what it's going to be. So it'll be fun to watch. All right, Zach, enjoy the weekend, and we will talk to you next Friday. It'll probably be mostly Saints. Maybe we'll dive in a little bit LSU portal talk as well next Friday.
All right, man.
I'll see you then. Have a good weekend and stay warm. Zach Ewing, everybody. Denham, Louisiana. We're gonna have Pick'em in just a minute. So wherever the hell you are, UBN, find your seat. I wanted to show this one. Apathy. Did I see that Vance Joseph talk about the Cook's interception at a presser this week? Read behind the lines. He basically calls Cook soft and made sure to challenge his catches to the ground. I did not see that, but that was clearly something they were going to do. And I mean, I don't think that anyone's surprised that Brandon Cooks is being called soft because he's basically been soft his entire career. And that's not his thing. I mean, you might think I'm wrong. Now, with that being said, the caveat, he has caught passes across the middle in his career, but I don't know if that's why he didn't catch. I just think he got out-muscled in that catch. What is he? I mean, Brandon Cooks got to be his mid-30s or pretty close to it. In fact, you know what? Y'all love when I do this on live TV. Brandon Cooks is 32, so he'll be 33 next year. How much longer is he going to play? I don't know the answer to that. All right, we're going to move on here because we're going to continue this thought. Mike VanderVelde is scheduled to come on at noon. He might be here a little bit late, but I just got a text from him that he is good to go. So he will be on the show somewhere around noon, the head official for the college football championship game coming on the Dattitude podcast in a little bit. We got to get to our picks. Before we do, we told you earlier, we're letting you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? I mean, that really is. That's not just a question of the week. You know, that might be the question of the year. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanian Nick Braden, he and the folks at Evangeline Securities, they will begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. Very few companies like them in this area, and 0.0 with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. It's not what surprises are in store for Sunday. It's not who could route who. It's certainly not what we're going to pick in the next two minutes. No, you know what's important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Dun, 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 dun. We were terrible, but I didn't feel like using all blue this week, so only poor Gabe got the blue this week. And Poor Gabe. Gabe's now 0 for his last 7. It has been a brutal stretch, but I'm not going to mess with him because we have one word for you if you can't see the title, and it's called pathetic. That's what we've been, pathetic. And even though UBN and I were both 2-2 against the spread last week, our point differentials were absolutely horrible. And just remember about 6 weeks ago, guys, when we were like, 6, 8, 10 games above 500, and our point differential was like 50, 70, whatever it is. Now we're like minus, and UBN and I are barely above water, and Gabe's now 6 games below 500 against the spread. Gabe, what do you got to say for yourself?
This isn't the worst I've been all season.
You were worse earlier in the year?
Yeah, minus 87.
He was almost minus 100.
Yeah.
God. Well, all right. Well, we can only get better, right? All right. Mike VanderVelde coming on in about 13 minutes. So we got to get to our picks. We can chit chat at the end if we still have time. The rules for this week.
4 over 500 and minus 37. That's crazy.
Because you and Gabe tied it.
When I lose, I lose.
What are the odds? You look at that. Your ATS record, by the way, you're 31-27 UBN. Gabe's 26-32. Yet y'all have the same identical to the half point differential at minus 37.5. I'm 29-28, and my point differential really sucks. All right, rules for this round, because we only have 2 games to pick from, so I expanded a little bit. You were committed. You had to pick at least 1 spread or total. You could pick 2 spreads or total. You can pick.
Gabe, did you get rules for this round?
He said them last week on the show.
Oh, I was supposed to pay attention to that, I guess. Okay, go ahead.
And the rules were that you had to pick at least 1 spread or total. And you could, if you wanted to, pick a player prop or 2 player props if you wanted to for this game. So player props are hard to do points for, because it's not like, if you do over passing yards and he goes for 100 passing yards, you're not going to give you 100 points. So this is the way we're going to do this. The rules for the play, if you do player props, rushing, receiving yards. All right. Every yard you go over, you got to go 2 yards for every point. They completely made this up, by the way. Whatever. For passing, every 5 yards you're over, you will get a point. Okay. So if the over is 200 and the dude throws for 220, then you're going to get 4 points. Okay. You're not going to get 20 points. And then if you say completions, because one of us has completions, we'll just go 1-to-1. That seems pretty close to points. And then anytime touchdown, one of us has anytime touchdown in there. That'll be a plus or minus 10. So if you get it right, you get a plus 10. If you get it wrong, you'll get a minus 10. All right.
What if you get 2 touchdowns?
You still get a plus 10 or a minus 10. You just get a plus 10.
I really shouldn't have chosen completions then, because there's no room for a big week.
I don't know how to do it. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But either way, it's just 1 for your ATS record. All right. With that being said, you know what? We're going to start with Gabe this week, even though he had a rough week, because I know he wants to get that sour taste out of his mouth. And there you go. You're going to start off with you've got 1 spread pick, and you got the Rams plus 2.5 over the Seahawks.
I don't know if you guys have seen the report. All 3 of the Seahawks left tackles have yet to practice this week.
And Darnold's banged up.
Yeah.
I've been on the Rams for weeks. I just feel like the Rams win this game. I'm fading the public here. As we mentioned earlier, the Seahawks are a huge public darling because of the way they've played. I think Sean McVay is going to have a masterclass in coaching. These 2 teams are really close. I'm taking the Rams to cover a 2.5 point spread at least.
Sam, my newest member, and his fingers were frozen at 32 below. And UBN bitches about the weather down here. 32 below wind chill, but yet he still found a way to thaw his fingers out to become our newest member. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
I will never live in a place where there's a chance that I can live in 32 below.
I mean, what if you got a free house across from Wrigley, but you had to live there all year long?
No, it's not happening.
A free house across from Wrigley where you could walk. And by the way, you don't have to worry about your salary. You just literally go to Wrigley Field. I would do it. As much as I would just live inside in the winter. I don't care.
Can't do it.
Charles says New England versus Seattle in the Super Bowl. New England wins. Sav says Seattle versus New England in the Super Bowl. He says trust him. He's an expert. All right.
He's not a weatherman.
Davante Adams, anytime touchdown. Gabe, what you got?
People have been talking about Davante Adams like he's an absolute amateur the last few weeks. He's not been good. He hasn't scored a touchdown in his last 4 appearances. He's been banged up. He led the NFL in receiving touchdowns this season with 14. He had 1 in the lone game he played against the Seahawks. He's Stafford's go-to red zone guy. I mean, anytime they get down to the goal line, you are guaranteed a fade to Davante Adams. I just think he's going to bottle up that the noise and the fact that people have been clowning him, and I think he's going to score.
Davante Adams is probably the sole reason why my fantasy team went to the playoffs. I'm just going to say that. I love this pick. I did not put it on there, but in fact, of probably all the picks that aren't my own, I like this one probably. I agree with you. I think Davante Adams finds a way to get in the end zone. And I think if the Rams are going to have a chance, I think they're going to need him to get in the end zone because obviously they're going to be focused on Puka. So one of the advantages I think Davante Adams gets is the fact that he hasn't been great. Maybe some of the pressure is he's going to have a lot of man-on-man coverage, a lot of one-on-ones. So I think there's a good chance that I like this.
Got an extra week to rest up as well.
Yep. And then you got Drake May pass completions over 19.5.
No, I had under.
Oh, you had under. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. So I will fix that on the script. So it's under 19.5. Drake May pass completions under 19.5. Go ahead.
Drake May's only gone over 19.5 completions once in his last 6 games.
Okay.
He's played a lot of good defenses down the stretch. The Broncos last week against Josh Allen forced a season high in off-target attempts and percentage from Josh Allen. I think they're going to be similarly disruptive against Drake May, who hasn't looked fantastic. This will be his first time going on the road in the playoffs. I like the Broncos to keep him in check in the passing game.
It can only go up from here, Gabe. I know we joked last week and said it can't get any worse, and it didn't get worse. It didn't get worse for UBN and I, but it absolutely got worse for you. And maybe the only reason why it didn't get worse for UBN is because we played this song right in the beginning.
Uncle Picnic, can we make some picks today? Well, can we please?
I got to make that song a little shorter in the future. We spend too much time listening.
It's fun.
It is kind of fun. But anyway, you get the fire despite the fact you were minus 19.5, but you were 2-2. So I guess that means everybody should just be paying attention to what UBN says this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the Denver game, then I'll just do the other one together since we showed on time. It's both the same.
Hang on real quick. We got 6 minutes, but I want to show this, Jerry. Everyone in your area battling snowy, icy weather, stay safe. Make sure you have everything you need just in case the power goes out, which he prays it doesn't. I'm with you. Same, Jerry. Thank you for putting that up there. All right. You got Broncos.
Has the power ever went out because it was too hot?
Absolutely it has. I spent the first time I spent more than 3 days in Chicago. I went to Chicago for a week, and it was 94 degrees, and they had rolling power outages. Oh, yes, absolutely. It's 100% going out because it's too hot. 100% because it's too hot. Anyway, we'll talk about the weather later. Denver plus 4.5 over the Patriots.
I think everybody's dismissing this Denver team like it's over because Knicks is out, and I don't see that big of a miss between Knicks and Stidham. The only thing.
Look, I make fun of Knicks, but I make fun of Knicks, but I don't know about that.
And Peyton is the perfect coach for this to happen to because he's so petty, and he's such a stickler for this. Like he's gonna want to prove that I can go win this game with Stidham. Watch what I can do. You know what I mean? Like he's one of those type of coaches. I think he's gonna have this team fired up. May has looked terrible in the playoffs. Let's not sugarcoat it. He's got 6 fumbles.
I don't disagree with you.
This defensive line, like it's going to be all over him. Will Campbell's will get beat up like he got beat up last week. Like, I mean, I don't understand. I think Denver wins this game outright. I don't.
Abby said wants to know who that kid is. That is one little Lucy Derry that does the voiceover in UBN's soundbite. Ron Hendrickson says best podcast on YouTube. Thank you so much. He's got Denver. He's got Seattle. Okay, you've also you know what? Do you guys mind if can we come back to the pick'em? Can we end the show with pick'em? Mm-hmm. Do you guys mind? Because I think we would be better served if we've got our featured guest in the green room, and I would rather come back to that if you guys don't mind. Sure. So we will come back to UBN, and we'll see y'all in a few minutes. All right, everybody. Let's get to our featured guest this morning. He is in the green room, and it is Mike VanderVelde is here with us this morning, head official in the national championship game. I have a confession to make, Mike. I covered the North Shore for sports for quite a while. And the fact that I didn't remember that you were the head baseball coach at North Lake Christian, it goes to show you this is what's going to happen to you when you get to my age, Mike. You're going to forget things like that. I'm like, how did I forget that? Of course I knew that. So anyway, Mike is a local here and on the North Shore in Louisiana. And what an honor for you. And was so happy to hear that one of our own got to do something as special as what you got to do on Monday night.
Hey, man, really appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to come on here and chat a little bit.
Absolutely. So just, let's get right into it. What was the experience like? Was it everything you dream? Players dream about going to the Super Bowl, players dream about going to a national championship game. And I'm sure football officials dream about officiating a national championship game.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great experience, man. College football playoff, the CFP committee, everything around the game was just very special. They did such an excellent job with it. And, just the energy of the stadium and the days leading up to the game were just incredible. Right. And I got to go out there with a crew of 14 officials that, loved to death and really enjoyed it. And it was just, a great experience for sure. It's hard to put it in words, but just to be there on the field with everybody and be a part of the game and just try to manage it and allow the best team to come out on top. That was our ultimate goal. And, we enjoyed every minute of it for sure.
Players and coaches always talk about having butterflies, right? I mean, they always talk about, look, when you get to that game and you hear all the stories, I don't know how I got to this, but I was watching a Saints highlight film of their entire 2009 season. It just came up my YouTube feed and I got stuck watching it. But so players talk about the butterfly. Did you get butterflies before this game?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's, same energy, right? Like you're ready to go out and compete and that energy is there and the butterflies are rocking and rolling. You get goosebumps, national anthem is playing. It's about 10 minutes before kickoff. And, you got the stadium lights are dimmed down low and an amazing national anthem that was sung there. And players start running out. You got the laser light show for the players coming out. And it's like, man, this is about to get real. And so, yeah, you do have those butterflies, but as soon as you get to that coin toss, it was one of those things where, we've done this a bunch of times and it becomes a football game. It's 11 on 11. And, all of a sudden those butterflies are gone and you're locked in on what you want to get done. So
Mike, what do you remember most about? I mean, obviously you're talking about 3.5 hours of football and, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a particular play or whatever, but just what's going to stick out when you're 80 years old and you're sitting there with your grandkids and you're telling them about it. What's going to stick out in your mind?
I think it was sharing it with the family, right? And the other officials' families that were with us. I think, a lot of great times. We had a great dinner, great pregame with everybody and that type of thing. And I got to celebrate it with my dad too. My dad's
that's awesome.
A little bit over 80 and he got a chance to go to the national championship and watch me work and their crew work. And so, growing up with him being a part of that and watching him officiate all those years too, it was just one of those special moments to be able to celebrate that with him. And my mom was there too. So, being able to do that and have my family nearby and all those good things. I think that's the biggest, and probably the lasting, thing from the game that I'll take with me. But I'll tell you the run by Mendoza on 4th and 5, incredible call by coach there, to make that decision and making sure that play was completely legal with nothing, that was holding or anything like that. That was, some potential there. Was nice to see that as well. But that was an incredible play that'll last forever too.
If that kid turns out to be what a lot of people think he's going to be the first pick of the draft, most likely, and to say you were there for no question, a signature play in the history of college football for him to do that on 4th down, and then the dive, the stop and the leap and the dive, just incredible.
Yep.
When you do these games, you do them. It's not the same crew that you're used to. Well, by the way, you're one of the head Big 12 officials, correct? You work in the Big 12. Yep. So was this an entire Big 12 crew?
Yeah, entire Big 12 crew. Mainly guys that had, performed obviously at the top of their game, where our coordinator of officials, Greg Burks, assigned them to it. So it was our top crew. And again, we've got
the entire crew is together, guys that you've worked with.
I have worked with them in previous assignments. Yes. Not my regular season crew. So that was a little bit different. From that standpoint, we had 5 off of my regular season crew that we had. So it was nice to have some of that consistency and continuity there, but it's the other guys that were on the crew were officials that we had, worked previous seasons together and knew them very well. And, it was really, really cool to be with them as well, So
one of our regulars, Mark Gapsky, he wants to know, what was your pregame meal before the big game, and who is your favorite Major League Baseball team?
Major League Baseball team, Detroit Tigers for sure.
Okay, all right.
Definitely Detroit Tigers. Grew up watching them all the time. Fox Sports back in the day had them every night, and then also the Atlanta Braves, TBS. I think TBS at the time, they would play them on TV as well. So we'd watch those guys every night, which was awesome. So. Let's see, my pregame meal before the game, the night before, we went out to an Italian restaurant. So I had some ravioli.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That changes week to week, though. That just depends.
I was like, and I think part of that was, do you have a ritual that you go through it all before a game? No.
Pretty standard when it comes to that. Just whenever we get into town, we usually have a pregame meal and kind of get on the same page, talking to the guys and from the week previous, and just make sure we're having a good time there. And it could be a steak joint, it could be an Italian joint. We went to a bunch of different spots throughout the season, so nothing ritualistic from that perspective.
Well, that's a pretty cool part of it, that you do get to go to these different cities. And I mean, when you're in the Big 12, I imagine you eat a decent amount of steak with some really good steak, some really good barbecue.
Yeah, there's some really good places for sure. You get up to Dallas and as we're headed down to Waco, there's some places there that we'll have some dinner and in the Fort Worth area, definitely barbecue for sure. So, different regions call for different food. So, whenever we get out west to Arizona State, there's definitely some great Mexican joints too that we like to hit up and, have some good dinners on Friday night before kickoff.
Now, the officiating part of it, I know that there are actually multiple collegiate officials in this area, because I know some of them. Yep. So this is, I wouldn't say, doesn't necessarily have to be a hotbed, but just tell everybody, you know plenty of guys who have gone on and officiated collegiate games from around here. What got you into that? What made you, how hard was it to get to where you are?
Yeah, it's everybody's journey is a little bit different. But I think really once you get started in the high school officiating world in Louisiana, you're starting to meet some really cool officials that are doing it at a high level at the college level. And so that's where I kind of started. When I moved in 2011, I think it was, I wanted to get connected into the high school world, right? And get connected. I wasn't familiar with the North Shore, wasn't familiar with the South Shore. At the time we were looking at, 6-person mechanics, 7-person mechanics, when we had enough officials to do those kinds of things. And so, college was really not on the radar. I went to a couple camps, but it was just something for continuing education is really what it was. And, more professional development and just getting to be, more familiar with the game, so to speak. So that was the initial start, which was great. And then you get connected with guys like Thaddeus Azor and, Paul LaRosa in New Orleans and, Kevin Boitman.
One of my buddies who's no longer in Louisiana, Jim Radcliffe, who moved out to California. So he actually watches the show a decent amount. I don't think he'll probably watch it later, but he's on here quite a bit. So but just there really are a lot of officials from around here who end up making it big.
Yeah. And, I think it's just the dedication to it. Like even from the high school level, right? I mean, we were watching film and we were training and, all of those different things. It's a hobby, right? Like we love it. There's some passion to it, but just the dedication to watching more film and the pursuit of being better. on and off the field. How do we present, how, the professionalism with our athletic directors and our coaches and all of those different things was something that I was really drawn to, specifically in the state. And Michigan, when I was there, was great. Colorado did a good job with it, but Louisiana kind of takes it to that next level. And back at those days, it was, the camp scene was getting more and more prominent. And so, we were learning from people all around the region, and, it just really helped, push and, put the state officials in a really good position. So
you said your dad was an official. What did he officiate?
He was high school football, high school basketball.
Okay.
He did some small college up in Michigan.
Where'd you grow up? Michigan. You grew up in Michigan.
Yeah, Grand Rapids area up there. So, he was started young and loved it. And so he as soon as I could go hang out with him on the field, I would. So, that's when he didn't finish. And I think he got about 60 years of high school experience up there until, now he's stepped down. So he's watching my games and critiquing every move that I make. So you know how that goes.
I bet he is.
Yeah, 100%. I know exactly what we did right and wrong by the time the game's over.
I'll bet. I can't imagine what your texts look like when you get off the field. Adam Varner, a regular here, says, of all the games you officiated, has there been one player that you just saw play and said, just wow?
Yeah, I always go back to I'm trying to think, Bijan Robinson was just special.
Okay.
Just that first step, that he had and the vision that he had, he would put that right foot in the ground and he would find that hole and he was through it quick. I mean, it was something to be seen there. I think he was probably one of the best players that I've seen, live. Trying to think other than that. I mean, some of those offensive linemen too, just with how big they are. Those guys are pretty special from that standpoint, just from size. And
now you, how long have you been in the Big 12?
This is my 5th year. 2020 COVID
You in the
season.
Southland?
There. What's that?
Were you in the Southland? I know you were.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And one other conference too, as well, right?
Yeah, Southland to the Mountain West, and then the Mountain West into the Big 12. So
okay.
Yeah.
So Mark Gapsky wants to know: would you like to be an NFL official?
I think to me it would be awesome. It'd be a great experience and an opportunity. But I'm just really happy with how things are progressing, and it's really a day-by-day, snap-by-snap mindset. If the opportunity presents itself, I would love to. But again, that's out of my control. I just want to be the best official I can be, and someone that I can help lead our crews to do really good things on the field. So,
how does that happen, Mike? How do you? Do they choose you? Do you apply? I mean, how does that work as far as the NFL goes?
I think the NFL does a really good job of scouting officials, and they're out there watching, our moves and how we, officiate, our mechanics, our judgment, all of the different things that they're evaluating us on. And then they kind of, group you into different categories of officials that may be ready for the next level, and kind of tier you up from that perspective. And then, right now they have a Mackey development program, which there's roughly 40 officials, college officials that are in that, where they will provide some training and some interactions with the other NFL officials to do that. And so I think that's kind of the next step in how you bridge yourself into the opportunity of being offered a position as an official in the NFL.
I would imagine if you are interested in that and you hope they see, I would imagine working a national championship game, you're getting eyes on you at least when you do something like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, whoever broke it yesterday sounded like 30.1 million eyes or viewers that were on that game.
Wow.
So I don't know. Yeah. That's crazy numbers, Stephen.
Does that make you like, when you see that, obviously you're not thinking about that when you're doing a game. I mean, I know, and it's the same for everyone. I mean, once you get into it, you're not thinking about who's watching and who's not. But after it's over and you see a number like that, does that kind of jar you a little bit?
It does. Yeah. 30.1 million was a crazy number. I was like, holy smokes, that's nuts. But yeah, definitely.
Well, you're still young enough. I mean, you absolutely have plenty of time to go to that next level. We hope it happens for you. Now, I want to ask you a question. I got a couple more in here that I want to get to, but I want to ask you a question of how do you juggle your real job with being able to do that? I mean, because obviously, you're working as a teacher and doing your day-to-day grind and all that stuff. How do you juggle all that?
Yeah, it's just great flexibility from the leadership at North Lake Christian School, just allowing the opportunity to do that, which has been great, for the last 7 years or 8 years that I've been at the school, and just them, seeing the cool side of the officiating, where we get to network and get to see other schools. And, sometimes when I'm traveling on a Friday, I'll go visit other schools in the areas that we're officiating games at, other local high schools or local schools that are there. So that's always been something to network with other people as well, and get to do that a couple times throughout the year. So that's been good. It's always hard to be out on a Friday when you're traveling. Hate missing some of those things that are happening at school, but just the leadership has done a great job of allowing that, and seeing some of that added value and benefit to having someone that's officiating and being able to network and market with people outside of, the North Shore. We've gotten some really good ideas from other schools that, we can try to implement and bring on board at Northlake, which has been a huge blessing too. So, yeah, it's a unique, it's just got to be disciplined, right? At the end of the day, you got to stay disciplined and stay ahead of the game and do a great job of communicating with everybody involved.
And you don't get a lot of sleep during football season. I mean, I would imagine Sunday's your day to rest if you can.
Sunday's the rest day. Travel, get home, rest, see the family, do all the good things there. And then Monday we're back in the film and getting prepared and closing off the game from the previous week and then getting ready for the week that's coming up. So
you have kids, Mike?
Yeah. Yep. 2 kids, boy and a girl, one in high school and one in junior high.
Okay. So at least you can get the rest, because I have the same thing. So I know what it's like to be able to, how important it is, because really a lot of us only get that one day. UBN, who is a regular here, obviously he was on the show right before you came on. He'll be coming on again later on. He wants to know, did y'all have a plan going into the game to let them play more freely and pass the game, or did it just go with the game flow?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's more of the game flow. And I think, you talk about a lot of the conversation from the game really was pass interference, offensive pass interference or defensive pass interference. And really we
weren't going there, by the way.
No, that's good, but it's just OPI, DPI, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at advantage, disadvantage. And both players, for the majority of those plays, which there were a lot of decisions that our deep officials had to make, for the majority, they were both equally doing the same thing to each other going down the field. And so I think that's really what, kind of how we officiated it. What was the standard going to be, and where can we find a clear and obvious foul that the defender did or that the offensive player did? And it really was a 50-50, very gray. Not many people understand that part of the officiating world, that a lot of those were just very gray with how fast the game is going and, how the players were kind of officiating it from that standpoint. So it really wasn't hey, we're going to let these guys play it out. It was, hey, there's just not that clear and obvious foul. When you play it at normal speed, you're like, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's into him early, maybe not. And so that's kind of how that played out, which was, there's about 15 to 20 plays in that game, Jim, that, you can go back and evaluate and freeze frame and freeze it and do what you need to do. But that's kind of where, and I was proud of the guys at the end of the day, deep, because it was consistent, right? I mean, it was very, very consistent back and forth for both teams. And so, we felt good about that piece coming off the field.
Do you go and read social media at all, or read anything or listen to anything after you do a game and see let's be nice and call them critiques were?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'm going to tell you, earlier in my career, I did, right? And I think it was, something that was to a detriment for me. You start listening to that noise. You don't know who's posting, you don't know the comments. You get up into your feels a little bit and that kind of stuff. So earlier in my career, I would probably look at it and I wasn't, too keen on it. And then I got a little more wise, and I've deleted since that social media world. Try to stay off of it. Don't want to listen to the noise. I know it's always out there, and it doesn't matter. There's no perfect game, no perfect official working through. We're trying our best. We want to get 99, 100% of the plays correct. We know that there's always 4 plays or 5 plays in a game that you can look at from a different perspective. So I stay away from that now, which, I'm able to leave games with a little more, joy and excitement. And then really we're the hardest on each other as an officiating group. We go back, we've already looked at the film, we've evaluated all the plays, and, we're really critical on each other. Like, hey, did we see this the right way? And how can we see things better? And, should we have called this, and should we have not called that? And, safe to say from that game, we saw every play, we made judgment calls, and, we wish we had called a couple other ones that we should have called. But at the end of the day, we felt, it was very consistent and managed it well for both teams.
Would people go out of their way to find you when you were on social media? I mean, would you go back and you had like 50 DMs on Twitter or whatever?
Delete. Delete. We're good. We're good.
Facebook or whatever that was. I can't imagine. I can't look. I get enough of my own hate mail, and I'm just a little show here, so I can't imagine what your hate mail might be. That would just drive me insane. And I'd want to respond to everything. You just can't respond to that stuff. I mean, I would just want to. So, I mean, I actually can respond and often do. So, but you can't do what I do. This is an interesting question because we talk about this on the show all the time. And this is specifically, and you can give your opinion on it if you want, or you don't have to, but this is specifically about the play with Brandon Cooks from this past weekend, and the interception that was ripped out of his arms as he was hitting I've said this 1,000 times since last weekend. It was clearly he did not survive the ground. You have to survive the ground on a catch, but to this catch, people keep sending me, because I say these things, they're sending me still shots. Okay. And to me, when you talk almost not just receiving the football, but almost anything, when you're talking about football specifically, you cannot show me a still image of anything that doesn't prove anything. Do you feel the same way? Do you guys hate the screenshot of a play that's in motion and it doesn't mean anything?
Yeah, I think that's tough, right? And we were talking about that today too, a little bit about that same exact comment. Screenshots are, frozen in time, and when you look at a play that's lasting 6 seconds and, all the different things that are happening to it. And then also the standards and the benchmarks that we have from a mechanics perspective, right? Like, where is the ball? Where's the quarterback at that point? All of the different things that we evaluate from each play, sometimes it doesn't rise to the level. And when you freeze frame, it looks like it's a foul, or it looks like whatever they want to, make it from that perspective. And you can click wherever you want to click, 2 frames forward, 2 frames backward.
Exactly.
And it just, so yeah, it puts you kind of at an unfair advantage when it comes to that. So it's an interesting concept when it comes to that. But again, you can create whatever you want to create and post whatever you want to post. And so, it's better when you show it full speed and live, and then we can have a legitimate discussion about what happened on those plays. And I think both of those plays last week in the NFL were interesting, right? I mean, they're tough plays in real time and real speed. And, you have to always start off with the ruling on the field and what the officiating crew had come up with. And so you rule interception on one and you rule fumble on the other one. And so there are 2 different rulings there. And then you got to look at the camera angles and you got to nitpick it, and you want to do it in a timely fashion because everybody's getting impatient too. So there's a lot that goes into it. And I think that's kind of the takeaway from all of it is, we're not trying to fabricate or make things up. I mean, that's
the thing. There's no conspiracy. Yeah. I mean, there are calls that are going to be missed here and there. Yep. You're human. I mean, it is what it is. And look, I can sit on my couch and say, that's a terrible call, ref. And I'm sure I do. But I mean, it's so tough to be standing there on the field and doing that. And I used to umpire baseball, and it is not an easy thing to do. And sometimes you go, I've actually told coaches before when I was umpiring a baseball game, coach, and I wouldn't tell the hottest of hotheads this, but I've said before, I might have missed it, coach. I might have missed it. I did the best that I can do. And that's what I saw at the time, but I might've missed it. So, I mean, you just do the best you can do and you move on from there.
Yep. Absolutely.
College football referee Mike VanderVelde is with us here on the Dattitude podcast on this Friday morning. Just a couple more minutes with him. He officiated the national championship game on Monday. And, what do you see going forward now? I mean, do you we asked you about the NFL, but the Big 12 and is that something you love? I mean, you see yourself doing anything else? This is just what do you see for yourself in at least the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, I loving college football, loving officiating in general, right? So that's the next month, right? We're continuing to work and getting better and learning as much as we possibly can, watching plays and all of the different things from that perspective. So, really cool where college football is at right now. It's going to be interesting with how the playoff progresses. I think I saw a post today that sounds like it's going to be a 12-team playoff again next year. which is fantastic. And so, I guess they're going to set that, and let's see how it falls next year, next November and into December on what the top 12 teams are going to be for the CFP. So I think college football is at a unique spot. It's going to be interesting to see all the different things from the transfer portal and, the different things with NIL and that kind of stuff. But from the officiating standpoint, it's, what are we going to do, with any new rules that are coming down the pipeline and the things that the coaches want to see for their game over the next couple of months. So, and then we've got UFL starting up soon. And so that's,
so you are a UFL official as well, right?
Yep. So we'll get that spring league going on March 27th, I think is week 1. And, we got some amazing officials all across the country that we work with in the UFL. And so that's such a great experience as well. It's great snaps. It's, professional snaps. And then there's some, unique rules to the game that, the NFL will look at. And there's also, just different access points for fans to hear us talking about what we do, on and off the field, right? Primarily on the field, but the conversations that we have in real time on penalty enforcements and the dialogue that we do have in between plays and that type of stuff, which is always cool to tune in on. A lot of errors, a lot of mistakes, a lot of interesting conversations that might be put on tape, but it's a good experience, good practice. And so, it's continuing to have that growth mindset and keep working.
Mike, I'm going to tell you that I really hope the NFL adopts and for those who don't watch spring football at all, what the UFL does to be as transparent as possible and show the conversations. By the way, the replays in the UFL are much quicker, and I'm not just saying it, they're almost always right. I mean, they're much quicker, and it's like, okay, this is what we called, we can't overturn it, let's move on, or no, this is what I have here. But you hear them. The ACC did this year. I hope the Big 12 and the SEC and everybody else does it. Is that something you would like to see, be more transparent, let them hear your conversations?
Yeah, I think, it's not an issue either way, right? I mean, you're going to get some good perspective on how things are going. I know the Big 12 is looking into that. I think that's something that, we'll probably see in our conference next year, is that tuning in live on what's going on in the replay booth and back at the command center. And so that just gives you more perspective on what the replay officials looking at and how they're processing the play. And, does that camera angle give us what we need? And, that's the unique thing, right? You have to have unbelievable video evidence that's going to show that you can reverse this call in order to get it right. And if not, if there's any doubt, we got to stay with what we have. And so it's good to hear that conversation, behind the scenes. So I'm excited about the Big 12 moving in that direction. I think they'll do a really good job with it. We got some amazing replay officials in the command center that help out and, provide some good perspective there too, along with our amazing replay guys in the booth. So it's going to be good for our league. I know that, coming next fall. I hope they fully adopt it.
I really do. I think it would be a big help. There's my friend Jimmy Radcliffe telling you hello and saying that you're a great guy out. And he's out in balmy California. We feel really, really bad for him. You're in Frisco, Texas, correct? Doing the East-West Shrine game. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had practice this morning. So yeah, we got.
What's the weather like in Frisco?
Man, it's 47 degrees right now. It's a little cool. It's getting colder. It feels like it's going to be snowy and icy, and the winter feel is coming in right now. So
that's going to be interesting.
Practice and film watching right now. Going to grab a lunch here in a few minutes and get back at looking at the practices and studying up some of the rules and all that good stuff this afternoon.
We're gonna let you go do that. But are you still coaching baseball at Northlake?
No longer coaching.
Okay, because of the UFL.
Yeah, a lot of that spring stuff really prevented that coaching piece. Just being able to stay dedicated to all the demands that the high school coaches have to do, nowadays, and all the practices it's crazy. It's an absolute crazy thing for high school coaches. And there's no doubt about it. There's no downtime. And if they start to have a downtime, you feel like you're falling behind. So definitely stepped down a couple years ago from that. Still love baseball, still love watching, the team progress. I'm excited to see how good they are this year. They got a pretty good group over there. I'm hoping they perform really well. So they've got some good pieces of the puzzle, and if they can come together and play well and get some timely hits, I think Northlake's going to have a pretty good season on the baseball diamond for sure.
Well, I wanted to give a shout out, speaking of Northlake, your friend Mike McMillan, who helped us get together on this show. Yeah. And, he what he's doing with the North Shore Report, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Yep. And I hope that keeps up. Just tell everybody Tell everybody about what this East-West Shrine game is, by the way. I get confused, the Senior Bowl and all these different things. Well, what is this game?
Yeah, same as the Senior Bowl. It's about a week of practice for your college all-stars that have been selected to come here. A bunch of teams, right? Like there were, the East team practiced with about 50 players, and there's probably, 60 different teams from both teams combined from across the country. So a lot of the top players that you're seeing, I know a couple of the quarterbacks. We've got Haynes King here and Cade Klubnik and Baron.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got a couple, pretty good names that are going to have some opportunity here during the draft at some point, but they're here just to get some more tape, get some good experience from the pro game. It's a little bit different from the college game. So they're starting to, see, the different rules and how that, progresses for them. And so they practice for 4 days. And then on Tuesday night, we'll have a game, 15-minute quarters, and, hopefully they can get through it a little bit just from, the new rules are interesting,
right?
The difference from, really, we talked a lot about illegal contact and what that is, and defensive backs aren't aware of that yet because they just finished their college season. So they've got to learn some of those new pro rules. So anyways, spent a lot of time teaching them this morning on what that looks like by throwing our flag on the turf a little bit. So, but yeah, just an all-star game, really good opportunity. East-West Shrine, the Shriners are out here giving back to the community as well. So great time, good opportunity for us to get some snaps, and great to hang out with the players for sure.
Well, as a fellow St. Tammany Parish resident, we're proud of you. We're super excited for what you were able to do. We kind of, live through when somebody's from the same spot, we kind of live through you and live through vicariously through all your travails. And look, man, it's really exciting, Mike, and keep on doing what you do. And hopefully we can have you on the show again soon.
I appreciate it, Jim, man. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Absolutely. Stay warm. Stay warm out there in Frisco.
I get icy, that's for sure.
All right, Mike. Mike VanderVelde, everybody. So gracious to spend, I don't know, a half an hour or so with us. It was really cool for him to come on the show. I can't, again, you get old and you forget. I mean, yeah, this guy was the baseball coach in North Lake Christian. When I saw I was talking about Mike McMillan, the North Shore Prep Report. By the way, I encourage free shout out. I encourage everyone to go check out North Shore Prep Report if you live in Southeast Louisiana, if you care about high school sports at all. What he does is absolutely fantastic. But when I saw in his prep report, I'm like, wait, and before I even read anything, I'm like, that guy looks familiar. I'm like, oh, that's why that guy looks familiar. Jim says the best guest ever. Maybe we'll have you on one day. We'll talk about officiating. That would actually be kind of fun. You and I could, I could give you I could say things to Jim that I don't know. So whenever I have a gripe about something, Jim was an official in Louisiana for a really long time. He's done a lot of different levels of fishing all over the place. Now lives in California. Whenever I have a gripe about something, I'm sure he gets tired of hearing it. I go to him. I go to Jim Radcliffe. That's who I go to. And usually he tells me, quit your bitching. That's what he doesn't say it exactly like that, but that's usually what he says. All right, we're going to get back to our pick'em segment here as I bring the guys back on. And you know what? If we're going to come back on and get back to UBN's picks, I mean, it's only right that we do this again, right, Gabe?
Uncle Big, can we make some picks today? Well, can we please?
I'm sorry, by the way, and I'm giving UBN the business. A couple of the comments on here. I'm sorry if I didn't get to every comment. I had some in my head that I definitely wanted to ask him, so I wasn't skipping over you on purpose. I knew I had a limited time, and I'd probably already gone over my time with him, so I wanted to make sure that I got everything I wanted to ask. And UBN actually asked some questions. And one of the things Shough says, is there a mandatory time to review a call? I don't believe there's a time allotment. I think they were trying to keep it within a certain frame of time, but I don't. Gabe, you don't know. There's not a
before the next snap.
Yeah,
ain't like a buzzer.
Jim says he asked Mike if he doesn't know the answer to that question, but he knows the answer. All right, we have already talked about. For those of you who just joined us, go ahead. You know what? We'll just start from the beginning. Gabe already gave his picks. If you want to go back and listen to Gabe's picks, you can go back. That was around the 50-minute mark. 45-minute mark, somewhere around there.
45, between 45 and 55.
Okay, so you can go back and check out Gabe's picks. We're going to start over, UBN, and just go ahead and explain to everybody why you like Broncos plus 4.5 against the Patriots. We'll start.
Before I do that, I just wanted to prove to you I could ask the ref some good questions and not the
you don't ask a lot of whole good questions. Your questions are kind of, for a lack of a better term, and we can use whatever we want on the show, dog shit. That's what your questions usually are, but they were pretty good today, so I don't know.
I put some thought into it because I had time.
All right. Well, hopefully you put thought into your picks.
Only we can all show our picks some love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Broncos plus 4.5 over the Patriots.
I just don't think this is going to be the cakewalk that everybody thinks it's going to be. Like, everybody thinks New England just going to go over there and kill them because they don't have Knicks. And I don't think Knicks is that much of a needle changer. I don't think he should move the line that much. Like, I don't think he's proved everything in this league. It ain't like they lost Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just Stidham's a capable quarterback. Peyton's petty
Is he
enough.
as good as Jimmy G?
He's much worse than Jimmy G.
So at the same time, he's much better, and we got much worse at the same exact time.
We're talking about a guy who has a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
I mean,
talking about a guy that started 4
games.
He's
not as pretty as Jimmy G, though.
It's Jimmy GQ, if you're going to say it right.
All right, I'm sorry.
You know what?
What is Jimmy G done without Shanahan?
Pretty good looking.
Okay, well, I don't think they're ugly, but sometimes we can be ugly on this show. All right, so you got Broncos plus 4.5 over the Patriots. I'll give you my thought because, spoiler alert, this game is in my picks as well. All right, you got Rams plus 2.5 over the Seabags. That sounds familiar. Yeah. Someone else on this panel picked that game.
Yeah, and I mean, the Rams offense hasn't looked good. You know, the last time they looked really good, Week 16 against Seattle's defense, 581 yards.
It was a 37-35 or something stupid like that.
Yeah, they lost. I mean, they lost to the 2-point conversion in overtime. I get it.
Stafford threw for like 450 yards.
Yeah, they outplayed them the whole game. I'm still not convinced Darnold is fixed in big games just because he beat the ambulance-ridden.
Wait, you can't say fixed. When we're talking about making picks, you can't use the word fixed.
Why not? Everybody thinks it's fixed anyway.
Yeah, that's true. It's a conspiracy. They want, and no matter what teams get in there, those are the teams that the NFL wanted to get it. It's amazing how they have the script. I actually have a friend on Facebook, to go off on a tangent, as I can do those sorts of things. To go off on a tangent, a friend of mine on Facebook said, my friend Googled who's going to win the Indiana-Miami National Championship game, and Google gave her the exact score a half an hour before the game started. 2 words, my ass. That doesn't happen.
Hey, no way.
Okay? Doesn't happen. Didn't happen.
To answer Mark's question real quick, he said hypothetically, what would the line be if Bo Nix was playing? CBS reports the line was set to be Broncos minus 1.5. So
that's exactly what I would have said.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so did we think 6 points for
that's a lot.
It's not necessarily 6 because you have.
That's true, because that basically means even. But even if it's 5, that just seems like a lot. That seems like a lot, in my opinion.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I think New England wins I think New England wins and covers in this game.
Right.
I don't think so. But back to the Rams, like the Seattle with Darnold last week, they beat up a bad Niners team that was beat up. But Darnold didn't have to do anything. He threw for 124 yards. Like, once Shaheed ran back the kickoff, it was basically over. Just don't mess it up, Darnold. I think the Rams can come out and take a lead, put pressure on Darnold to try and win this game, and they're not going to win it on Darnold. And Kenneth Walker ain't going to run all over this Rams team.
Yeah, Darnold, I didn't pick this game
against the Rams defense.
This game is not in my picks, but I agree with what you just said. I think there's a good chance that if the Rams jump out the league and then they force, and I'm not going to get a rail on Darnold. I've spoke my piece on Darnold before, but I just think that if the Rams do jump out to the lead, putting pressure on Darnold, he doesn't have nearly the capabilities that Caleb Williams had last week and be able to come back. So, Charles, by the way, you must be behind because you are asking as a head official, does he have the final say? And I could tell you the answer to that. The answer is when it comes to replay, he does not have the final say. The replay comes from whatever. I mean, wherever they get Big 12 officials get there, wherever they're Dallas, I guess, is their headquarters. whoever's watching in Dallas. So the replay official has the final say. As far as calls go, if they get together and huddle up, then yes, the head official has the final say. All right, so moving on, your last pick here. That same game, you got Rams Seahawks over 46.5.
It's basically the same thing I just said. I think the Rams are going to score points. Look at all the points they scored last time they played each other. They know each other. McVay's going to have a game plan ready. The Rams defense, I think they're going to take the ball away from Darnold a couple of times and get a short field. So 27-20. I could see that,
Yeah, that's a fair score. All right. Going to move on to my picks. I've been mediocre at best as of late. 2-2 is the definition of mediocre. I've got one game pick and two prop bets here. I didn't think I was going to go with two prop bets, but I swear it has nothing to do. I'm so glad I stayed away from it now. As I've told y'all before, I do my best. Sometimes I accidentally see a pick or whatever, but when you send in your picks, I just click the thumbs up button that I got it. And after I saw y'all's picks and I took it out of my picks, I'm so glad I took it out, because when we pick the same pick, it's really bad. So I'm glad I did not do that. But anyway, I am on the same.
I wonder if we can get the point differential on that, because
it's absolutely horrendous. So hopefully when it's just two of us now, Ewing and I both have Denver. I actually think I'm kind of leaning now towards Denver winning this game straight up, and maybe it's because I've watched a lot of Sean Payton stuff this week, and Sean Payton seems to do his best work when he's got an absolute chip on his shoulder, and he is going to be as not that he wouldn't be focused anyway, but he's going to be even the defensive side of the ball. They're going to be uber focused, and Sean Payton is going to take this as a challenge. I am the quarterback whisperer. I can make Jarrett Stidham look great for at least one game. And so my first two picks really are kind of tied together, which goes with the Broncos plus 4.5. My first prop bet is Jarrett Stidham over 200 passing yards. I really couldn't believe it was this low. And not only that, the interesting thing about this is his over-under pass attempts is 34.5. If he comes even close to throwing the ball 34 times, he's absolutely going to go over 200. So that's kind of correlated with that. So anyway, all these things together, I'm leaning towards Denver winning this game outright. I may go with a money line bet on Sunday. I'll see I have not bet this game yet. But anyway, those two bets tied together. Broncos plus 4.5, Stidham over 200. And I think Vance Joseph, I don't know if I love your over, UBN, because I think Vance Joseph's going to have something special ready.
I didn't bet the over in that one.
You bet the over in the other game. Okay.
Yeah.
I
love the under here. I love the over in punts in this game.
I'd like your take on, you've been kind of critical of Drake May because he has turned the ball over. If he turns the ball over anything like he's done the first two games, I don't think they're going to be able to survive that.
No, and he's played against two great defenses. And this New England team has played against two terrible offensive lines. Denver's offensive line is not terrible.
You big dummy. I said Gabe.
Oh, my bad.
But I'm glad you gave your opinion as well.
I actually disagree.
Okay. Tell me why.
Here's my worry. And it's not only because while the money is on the Patriots, the public just seems to love Denver in this spot. Everyone is, Sean Payton this, Sean Payton that. I love Denver plus the points. Straight up, home underdogs in championship games, I believe, of 4 or more points historically are 1-6 straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I don't think Denver has the horses on offense, no pun intended.
Aha! I see what you did there.
I see it. Aha!
To keep up in this game. Drake may turnovers or not. I think Drake May will turn the ball over, but I don't think Denver is going to necessarily make him pay.
Yeah.
Similar to Houston. I mean, if you look at Houston's offense last week and Denver's offense this week, they're essentially what and what.
Yeah.
And New England did a really good job stuffing the run last week. If they can do that here against Denver, you're going to force Stidham to throw the ball. He has 8 touchdowns, 8 picks in his career. He's going to turn the ball over as well. New England's defense is playing well. I like New England to win this game pretty handily.
10-7. 17-7. Something along those lines.
He's got the over, doesn't he?
No, you didn't pick the over. He didn't touch the over.
Touch this game.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see who's right. And I actually, again, I'm getting to Stafford in just a minute. Right now.
It sounds like you were kicking us out.
No, I'm gonna say I don't know. I think the whisper is Lance. Hello, Lance. By the way, Petty Sean, Chippy Sean is the best Sean.
Let's also not forget who's on the other sideline.
Yeah, I'm not forgetting.
He's not coaching. He's not coaching against a bum. He's coaching.
How's he done as a coach in AFC Championship games? By the way,
0-1.
Okay, so he's never won.
Sean Payton done in AFC Championship games.
Well, in championship games overall, he's won.
No, in AFC Championship games.
Well, I mean that doesn't matter.
Actually, how did Vrabel as a player do in AFC Championship games?
Well, I mean, he had some dude named Brady as his quarterback. Drake May is not Tom Brady.
And he's got the second coming of Tom Brady, if you ask New England fans.
Of course. That's what they say. All right, my last pick this morning is Matt Stafford. It's not this morning anymore. Matt Stafford over 255 passing yards. And I'm going to say this. I agree with what Gabe was talking about in his pick segment. He was talking about maybe Stafford's bothered by the finger a little bit. He is. It is definitely. You were talking about his finger could be a problem. His injured finger. You were talking about that.
I didn't talk about Stafford's finger. I didn't even know Stafford had a finger injury.
You were talking about his injury.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. What am I dreaming?
I'm fall asleep during the game.
No, it makes me want to go back and rewind. I wish there was a way we could rewind.
No, he talked about the offense being bad lately. Yeah.
No, I know you talked about Devontae Adams' injury, but I thought you also talked about Stafford. I don't know what's going on.
And I thought I was the one that didn't pay attention.
Oh, I'm definitely paying attention. Maybe I just tune y'all out because y'all picks have been worse than mine. Well, yours wasn't.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Anyway, mine's been bad. Stafford, anyway, you know how many? I'll ask y'all a trivia question. Here's your trivia question. How many times the over-under for right now is 255? How many times in the last 5 games has Stafford thrown for over 255 yards? Does anybody have a guess?
4.
Once.
Gabe says once. UBN says 4. Y'all are both under. The answer is 5. He's done it He's done 5 in a row over 255.
I didn't think he did it in Chicago. That's why I said 4.
Now, out of the last 10, he's done it 8 times. So 8 out of the last 10 and 5 in a row, he's thrown for over 255 yards. And I think that he's going to need to. So I think the Rams. I kind of agree with you, with UBN says about them jumping out to a lead, but I also think this is kind of going to be a back and forth kind of game. And I think a lot of it's going to depend on what Stafford's going to do. I like Devontae Adams anytime touchdown, but I also like Devontae Adams to have a really good game. And usually when Devontae Adams has a really good game, well, who else is going to have a really good game? So I'm not usually finding overs. I usually like to find the unders to go against the crowd, but here I just think both of these passes are going to have a good day. So give me Stidham over 200. Give me Stafford over 255. There you go.
And like Gabe said, they gonna.
Yeah, I'm having a senior moment, Quo. Absolutely, I am. I'm having some kind. I'm telling you, I'm going to rewind and as soon as we're off the show. That's the first thing I'm going to do is rewind.
Gabe talking about them wanting to key on Puka, but hasn't everybody tried to do that? And this dude's still killing everybody.
I know, and he just keeps throwing it
anyway. Talk about anyone. You guys are putting words in my mouth. I didn't talk about Puka at all.
No, you talk about Adams getting free because they're gonna be focused on Puka.
I said that.
Jim said that.
I said that.
Jim said that.
So I said Adams was there.
I can at least pay attention to myself.
Hey, why are you here?
I don't know.
There you
go. we just messing everything that he set up.
Lord, Rocky's here. Good morning, Rock. Oh, good afternoon.
That was like 35 minutes ago, so
it was a while. That's that. I got a feeling we're going to do really good. If we do really well, here's the thing. I got to ask y'all a question, and we only have one more pick'em segment left in this football calendar year. But if we do really well, do we have to break up the segment with a 35-minute interview in between? From now on, like for luck, does that work?
Funny.
I mean, I don't know if that would work or not, but I guess we could try.
Actually, so I will say for anyone who's interested, if you want another Stidham prop, I considered putting this on here. Stidham to throw 2 picks is plus 199 at DraftKings.
To throw one's like minus 212, ain't it?
-6. Oh wait, no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Minus 192.
Yeah,
minus,
it was
what is it
-2
for him not to
rather.
throw a pick? Can you bet that?
Not throw a pick.
It's got to be
close out
plus
of it.
150 ish.
Hold on.
Is my guess. If it's
As you would
minus
say,
192, it's going to be
live
about plus
TV.
150. Yeah.
You said to not throw a pick,
Plus
interceptions
150-ish.
over under. Stidham under is plus 148.
It's like I've done this before.
Couple of times.
We've done this.
Just means I'm a sicko, is what I mean. All right, gentlemen, no pick 'em next week, but we will announce our
quick thing.
pick 'em results
Speaking of
on Monday.
interceptions,
Go ahead.
Last week, I messed up. I wanted Stafford to throw an interception in the Chicago game to bet it. So I'm scrolling and I've seen to throw interception plus 525. I'm like, good God, really? I hit that, bet it. It was the first quarter.
And he
Not
didn't
the
do
whole
it.
game. No, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that
He
lucky.
didn't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't throw one at all.
So you would have lost anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that was dumb. But
All right, well, Monday, be around, be here or be square as we give the results from our picks on Monday. Gabe, you'll be on the show. UBN, I'm sure you'll be in the comment stream.
yeah, definitely.
Enjoy your weekend.
I'm a member. I gotta be.
Yeah, go
I
find
get
your
my money's worth.
go find your parka UBN because Monday when we do this show, it's gonna temperatures are gonna be like in maybe in the 20s.
I'm gonna have to close the shop.
I can't wait to give you crap.
One last note on the Slack, as I mentioned to Chad earlier, any members who haven't sent Jim your email that want to be in the Slack, go ahead and do that, and I'll get you added.
If I missed it, Chad, I saw you put something in there earlier. I didn't.
I got him.
Okay, you got him in. I thought this is why I wanted Gabe to do them because obviously I missed one there. But I'll talk about the memberships as we go. Mark wants to know. Yes, Gabe is in Houston, and y'all are in the winter weather advisory area, aren't you?
Yep.
No, you won't be going anywhere this weekend.
Send
us some group text pics. All right.
Oh, no.
Petters is here. He's looking for a heat wave, tropical heat wave. All right. I will see Gabe. I will see you on Monday. UBN. I don't know. I'll be on the West Bank next week at some point. All right.
I'll alert the elders.
Yeah, please let them all know. Let the Jefferson Parish Police Department know to pave the way. Talk to you later. All right, everybody. One more note here on memberships before we go off the air. If you're interested, you can now become a Dattitude member, as Gabe was talking about. If you become a member, either level, there are two different levels. And I'm going to say this. The only reason why I did them in levels is because YouTube made me, or maybe I don't know. I can't even remember what Gabe's talking about. So apparently maybe I just did it wrong. And I had a senior moment like Quo said. But they made me do them in two levels. So the bottom level, the cheapest level is $12.99. And for that, you get basically everything you would get for the $19.99, except the $19.99, you're going to get some piece of merch. Okay. And really all this is doing is you're supporting the channel. Okay. As an independent now. And as I go forward here, obviously I can't do this without your help. And so I'm frankly asking for it. If you can help, great. And if you can't, I had someone email me the other day that they wanted to help, but they basically can't afford to do it right now. And I'm like, you're not going to miss out on anything. You're going to get you're not going to get into I have to leave the Slack channel and the messaging group for the people who are paid members because they have to get something for their membership. They're also going to get other things, by the way. I'm going to figure that over the next course of the next few weeks, what else I'm going to give members. But if you're a regular watcher of this show, if you're a member of the Dat family, you're still a member of the Dat family, even if you don't pay to be a member. You don't have to. I completely understand, and nor would I expect it. So anyway, this is just to support the channel, and I thank all the support that I've gotten so far. It's much appreciated, and hopefully we'll have some fun doing it along the way. Again, result of the poll question from earlier, it seems appropriate to say it now. Result of the poll question, today's poll question, who is going to the Super Bowl? We had 24-9. We had 33 total votes as of about 9 o'clock this morning. That's when I had to cut it off to look. 16 out of 33 said New England and Los Angeles. 8 said New England and Seattle. 5 said Denver against the Rams. And 4 said Denver
versus Seattle. We'll see who was the right one. Tedders, I did receive your email. I'm pretty sure I put you in. Gabe, isn't that one of the ones that I gave to you or no? Yeah, we'll see. If we didn't, we'll make sure that we get it. If we didn't, I promise. Merch. Yes, S. Cali. Merch. All right. What are y'all going to do this weekend? How many of y'all are in that 2,000-mile swath of ice? I mean, I know that actually, I think most of the people that watch the show and participate in the show are actually not living in the New Orleans area. I know we've got people from all over the place. Chad says you can open an OnlyFans. That would be a hard no, Chad. I mean, and I don't mean, pardon the pun, that would be a hard no. Wow. Y'all made me, you know how hard it is to make me at a loss for words? Good job, Chad. But I'm going to pass. On that note, we're going to call this a week. I meant to say this early in the show. But tomorrow is my mom's heavenly birthday. She would have been 82 years old tomorrow. She passed away 6 months after Katrina, or 5 months after Katrina, actually. Interesting to show you how, if you don't believe in higher forces, the last time I spoke to my mother was on the phone. At the same time, I spoke to my mother on the phone. Last time I ever talked to my mother was on the phone while I was on my first date with my wife. And here we are 20 years later. I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, if you don't believe in higher power, and then my wife, my mom passed away, and my wife, we weren't even dating 2 weeks yet. My wife went to obviously my girlfriend at the time, went to the funeral with me. I mean, so anyway, it is my mom's heavenly birthday, and then it's also her sister, my nanny. Her birthday was today, on this Friday, January 23rd. So January 23rd and 24th are always special days for me, and important days, definitely, in my life. So I wanted to give a shout out to them as we say goodbye here. I hope but going back to it, as I say goodbye here again, all of you stay safe, stay out of the ice. I hope you have everything you need. Have your water ready, have your bread and your sandwich meat and whatever. And look, the big difference about the summer when you're talking about hurricanes is you don't have to worry about if the refrigerator goes out. You can just put all that stuff outside, right? You know, that's all you got to do. Just put it out, put it in an ice chest and just leave it outside. It's going to be completely fine. As S. Callie says, stay warm, my friends. That's how I should end the show today. Maybe I will. We'll see. All right, we're going to do it for us on this Friday. If you have not subscribed to that, you don't have to be. Even if you don't want to become a member, that's okay. At least subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. We would so much appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like wherever you're watching. And click the little bell to receive notifications of when we go on the air live. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, live at 11 a.m. Central Time. Our next live show will be this coming Monday, Mono-y Monday. It's just us. It's Gabe will be here. You will be here. And it'll be me talking to y'all most likely about whatever happened in the AFC and NFC championship games and whatever else y'all want to talk about. We'll do that on Monday. A reminder to subscribe. We told you about that. Also, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, many more. If it's a major podcast platform, we're pretty much on there. All right? Stay safe, stay warm, have a wonderful, fantastic, glorious weekend, and we will see y'all on Monday. Take care, my friends.